Hello there, folks, and welcome back to the Grave Consequences podcast, a part of the Social Suplex podcast network. I am Caleb B. That's where you can follow me on Twitter. You can follow Greg at xmaserati. Follow the network at Social Suplex on Twitter. Follow the show at GC_cast. Search for the Grave Consequences podcast or the Social Suplex podcast network wherever you download your podcast. Especially if you're an iPhone user such as myself and you use Apple Podcasts, please give us 5 stars. That would be greatly appreciated, especially if I could learn how to talk. Isn't that right, Greg?
It would be a blessing, but we you plan for the worst, pray for the best, kind of situation. So
absolutely,
General goes to the war with the soldiers he has. So I'm stuck with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you never know. We could get toward the finish of the show and I'll just go full marble mouth. You never know. But that being said, today, folks, this is going to be a very unique episode. And by the way, for reference, the recording date is March 25th, 2021. 2 weeks before this episode will officially release on April 8, 2021. New start time, 6:30 a.m. Central Daylight Time. And this week, the episode, this is season 1, episode 32. It is titled All Night Long. Do you have an alternate title? Because I do have a slightly altered title if you don't.
You know what? I probably could think of something, but I like the actual title that they give it. But I'm open to hearing what you think might be good.
Literally, the only change I would make is I would call it Dario Cueto Presents All Night Long.
Let's do it. I will title it that. Dario Cueto Presents.
Mm-hmm. And folks, like I said before, this is one match, one show, one champion. May have said that off the air. I can't remember. Either way. One match and one show. This is going to be, and I took a lot of notes. I really did. This is probably the most notes I've taken all season and the most neat notes I've taken all season. And, folks, we are here for Mexican Dubweiser to play us in. Vampiro. Before the match starts, Vampiro refers to Matt Striker as his sexy partner, and he also refers to him as a rock star.
Wow. I will say that in this show, Vampiro and Striker said some things that throughout the show, I was kind of like, what? But then I realized that they were just doing their jobs and putting the other guys over. At first, I was like, nah, what? I was like, that's bullshit. But they were doing a good job. They were doing what they're supposed to do. They were putting over the guys in the ring. And that's and Vampiro doesn't always do that. So I want to give him credit when he does.
No. And, it's funny, referring to something that Vampiro does later on in the season, and I won't say what it is, but someone tweeted #release the Vampiro cut, and I'm like, no. Let's not do that.
If my laugh is too obnoxious, I'll edit that out, but that genuinely popped me.
Dude, it's fine. I don't blame you. Like, what I'm referring to, you know what I'm referring to, and it's like, it was fine as it was presented. I don't need to see the unedited version.
No, I've heard it was a mess. I heard it was actually quite bad. But it popped me because I was talking to James yesterday because I didn't watch AEW, not because I don't like it, but just because I tend to forget it's on Wednesdays.
That it's on?
Yeah, I do. Because I'm not used to watching. I like streaming everything. I don't like having to be stuck to certain days. Like even I watch Stardom, I turn it on whenever I want. I watch New Japan, I can put it on whenever I want. As far as I'm aware, AEW doesn't have a really. I'm not sure. I've tried different streaming options, but nothing is good. So I tend to just wait until it airs, avoid the group chat, and just catch up on it later. Yeah. And they also kind of just put everything on YouTube later anyway. So sometimes for some weeks, I'll just watch the clips they put on YouTube, and I'm kind of caught up. But having said that, I was watching Lucha. I was watching Lucha Underground. I was watching Justice League, the Snyder cut, and I was I was bugging James because I was like, "What the? There's 7 parts. I got an
Yeah.
hour in and it was like part 3. I was like, James, what the fuck is part 4 like 3 hours long? And he was like, no, it's 7. But it that popped me just because I was going through the Zack Snyder cut experience. So, and I haven't
Hmm.
finished it yet. I started at 8, and I guess I got distracted because at midnight I still had an hour left. And I was like, was I playing on my phone for a little bit? And I was, but I have to finish that later tonight, the last hour. So
Yeah. Good luck with that. The epilogue kind of feels very tacked on. Um, but yeah, I mean, let's get right into it, man. So first thing we see is a tight shot on Melissa Santos's face when she introduces us to the match, and then tight shots on the faces of the competitors when they're in the corner of, Prince Puma and Johnny Mundo. By the way, said it last week, Prince Puma versus Johnny Mundo, Lucha Underground Championship on the line all night long. This is essentially an Iron Man match. Most falls by the end of the show will win and be the Lucha Underground champion. But this had a big fight feel. Like, I know that's a cliche, but this actually has a big fight feel.
it Lucha Underground doesn't have pay-per-view, so it definitely did have a big fight feel. And I can't articulate why. It just the way it was presented. They gave it its own show, one match, its own show, and the way they lit it. You mentioned the tight shots, but I like the usage of the black background. Like New Japan does it a lot too, where
NXT used to do it back in the day as well.
Yep, I love it when there's a black backdrop, and this is kind of like a aesthetic thing that I've always liked, even as a kid. Playing video games, if there was like I preferred on Nintendo, I preferred games that had a black background so that I could focus on the other stuff. But I like how it highlights the people, and they definitely dropped the lights down, and I think they put the spotlight more so on the ring than usual, which even helped present it as like, this is your main event. This is your whole fucking show right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Word to
RVD.
Rob Van Dam. Yep. And Jerry Lynn, the new effing show. For sure, man. For sure. So first things first, Prince Puma, being the sportsman that he is, offers a handshake, and I was kind of surprised because Mundo accepted, but he immediately like kind of pulled Puma in, and he had some words to say to him. They didn't look to be too kind either.
No, he was. I think he was mouthing something like "I'm better than you, and you know it," or something along those lines. So the Puma and Mundo rivalry and this whole match does tell a story. There's a lot of psychology in it. And it starts out with Mundo not being a heel necessarily, being a very aggressive and mean spirited, but it's at the beginning of this fight. This whole match does have a lot of psychology, and it does tell a story throughout. And the story starts with them. Mundo is having a mean streak, but he's not necessarily being a heel yet. He will be a heel later on, but right now he's trying with his ego. He wants to prove that he can beat Puma just as a wrestler.
Yeah.
So I did like that though. I did like that element of the handshake because it does tell you a lot.
Yeah, and not only that, but like when the match started, they were kind of grappling back and forth, and it kind of showed, I don't want to say hubris, but definitely naivete on Prince Puma's part to engage him in that, because Mundo, he's a better grappler. Like, he might have actually wrestled in school, but like he knew his way around the ropes,
I think he might have, because this chain wrestling and ground mat wrestling was very good, and I like how it started that way, just a rolling around doing various different techniques, and even Puma, I give him credit. He was doing some interesting and I guess there was unorthodox techniques that were taking Mundo down. And it all looked good. It's always very crisp with Puma, and that's why I'm very critical of the way he wins, is because Puma is really, really good. Mundo's best work, I didn't see his TNA stuff, but I would guess it's his best works in Lucha Underground, because Mundo is, especially in this match, he's great. He's amazing here.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. At one point, and I love crowd participation, but we get a "fuck 'em up Puma" chant. Like that's always welcome.
That took me back, bro, because I haven't heard that kind of a chant in a while. I don't know about you.
We haven't had crowds in a year, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I think even before that, like I don't think you hear that too much at AEW, and I don't hear
Yeah.
that in Stardom or New Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, okay, there was one bit where, of course, they had to get in their shots about Conan, their discussion about Conan, but there was only one little bit of it, and it was like maybe a minute, and then they moved on, and I don't think they ever brought Conan up. Like, I think Stryker brought him up one more time, and it was in passing, and Vampiro didn't take a dig at him later in the show, which was kind of surprising.
Yeah, they bring him up a few times. I don't remember what the part was it, but Vampiro. I think the last time it's brought up is Vampiro asks like, "Well, how's Puma so good? How's he doing this? Able to do all
Oh
this?"
yeah, and Stryker has to say like, you're gonna hate that I have to say this, but it's Conan.
Yeah, it's Conan's training. It's this is that, and Vampiro doesn't jump on it, which is,
That's
he's
good.
yeah. He doesn't want to hear it, but yeah, there isn't too much Conan are brought up, and I think it was good that he wasn't in this match because you can do the wrestler with a manager as a face, but
Yeah.
it's just for me, it's still just not working very well. Conan is great. Like I think the last match he had with Hernandez, we were praising him, but
Yeah.
for the most part, his presence kind of takes away from Puma, I think.
A little bit. Okay, there was one really cool spot in here in that Prince Puma's on the outside, Mundo's on the end. Mundo goes to dive on Puma. Puma rushes inside the ring while Mundo's in midair. Mundo lands on his feet outside, and then Puma dives on the outside onto Johnny Mundo.
Yeah, you saw a lot of high flying in here, and it's two of the best guys in Lucha Underground. Puma is probably, if you were to ask me who's a better high flyer, Phoenix or Puma, it's going to take me a while. It's probably going to take me a while to come back to you with an answer, but yeah, these guys can really just move around the ring, and how fast they can get back into the ring and out is like I think at a few points
amazing.
They're just kind of even though Johnny Mundo is the guy that does it, they're kind of parkouring everywhere at points.
Absolutely.
They moved from the ground grappling. Let me check my notes real quick because there was a sequence where we didn't get to the first pin, did we? We're not up to that point yet.
I didn't really mention any spots before it. I had like one sentence, and it's that there was a lot of like aerial move attempts that kept getting countered into other aerial move attempts. Like no one could get the real advantage,
Yeah, and then once we start getting to the Irish whips and the offense off the ropes, is when that's when we get to the first pinfall. I'm not sure if I'm getting too far ahead of you, but
you're not at all. That was my next sentence actually. Is that Puma manages to roll up Johnny Mundo for the first fall of the match, and he gets the lead.
And I always forget what that. It looks like it's not a victory roll, like when you're on your shoulders, but it's the one where you jump and your feet go around their waist and you're facing down and you just roll forward.
I can't remember what it's called. That's gonna kill me.
Yeah, I always want to call it a victory roll up because a victory roll pin is when you're on their shoulders, kind of like you're about to take a one wing angel, but you roll forward. I think it's actually not called a victory roll up. It's not a sunset roll up. I always forget, but that's what he did. That's what Puma got him with, and they even point out like Vampiro points out like that was kind of a fast count.
Yeah, I was gonna say I noticed that Vampiro like immediately accuses Marty Elias of fast counting.
What'd you think? Because I kind of thought it was slightly fast too.
I mean, here's the thing: Marty kept his cadence throughout the match, so it didn't really bother me.
Fair enough, but it was interesting. And Vampiro also said, just because someone else scores first doesn't mean the game is over. In reference to Johnny Mundo, and it's Vampiro was on point with the things he was saying in this show.
It's one of those things. It's like I'll take y'all back a year ago, Super Bowl 54. Niners struck first blood, but the Chiefs won. So, like to Vampiro's point,
yeah, just because you didn't score first doesn't mean it's over. And I think that if you are one of those people that falls apart, if you just don't score first, you're that guy with that.
You're a mental midget, But yeah.
Yeah, you might have all the talent in the world, but you fall apart. You choke, you crumble. But
Yep.
it was a good pin. It wasn't a cheap. It wasn't you could say it was a steal, but it wasn't like a cheap steal. It wasn't like a victory. It wasn't like a distraction roll up. It was earned.
Yeah.
He got rolled up and he
No, it
got
was
pinned.
definitely earned. It was definitely earned, and most everything from at least Prince Puma and partially from Johnny Mundo was earned in this match. That's the theme of the show. At one point, Puma like springboards off the middle rope, but Mundo counters with a drop kick to the abs.
I
Oof.
love that counter. I always like that because
Yeah,
I'm sure they fake it, but it looks great.
yeah.
Uh, I
It
did.
reminded me of the tag match at Revolution when Jericho tried to do the lion salt and he got super kicked in the abs. Actually.
Oh yes, that was good. That was a great spot. Actually, I know what you're talking about. I love that one.
Yep.
Johnny
Yep.
Mundo also had he got Puma in a wrist lock pretty
Yeah, he
shortly
worked
after.
over his left arm.
Yeah, he had him in a wrist lock. He was also kicking him and giving him enziguris and just strikes. While he had Puma, he controlled the match for a long sequence of time with a wrist lock until they both came off the ropes and Prince Puma hit a really beautiful. I called it a drive-by cutter because he was
Yeah.
kind of running
Oh,
alongside with him.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was great. That was great. And Puma hits that cutter. Can't get the pin though because of that arm.
yeah. He fails to get the pin to follow up with it, but then Johnny Mundo they end up near the ropes, and
Oh God, I love this. I love this. Go ahead.
Johnny Mundo pins him with a bridge, but Mundo
Well,
bridges backwards over his
yeah,
legs, and he
yeah.
grabs the ropes.
The pin was
Over,
cool.
yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it was a very cool. It was a pin. It was a bridge near the ropes. So Johnny Mundo was able to grab the ropes as he did it,
Hmm.
and Elias wasn't able to see it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
he counted it, and it was a cheap heelish kind of win,
Hmm.
but it's also kind of one of those veteran wins. Like
Yes.
you could have a face to it and be like, oh, that's a veteran move. Knowing your environment, knowing where you're at all times,
Yeah.
and I liked it.
Well, okay. One thing that I had noticed. Okay, first off, this started when Puma's in the corner. Mundo's going up for fin de mundo, and Puma like grabs his leg to pull him down, tries to pin him. That's when Mundo bridges him, grabs the ropes. I thought, yeah, Marty Elias probably should have been able to see him holding the ropes, but he was too busy focusing on counting the shoulders of Puma down.
Yeah, he was focused on Puma's shoulders,
Hmm.
and Mundo did have his hands high, like
Yes, they were high. They were on the top rope.
yeah, which was kind of it may be kind of hard to imagine, but the way he was bridging it was he could reach that, and it was
Yeah,
good. It was a good roll up, and I don't know if you caught
yeah.
this, but Mundo rolls to the outside.
He immediately rolls to the floor.
He rolls to the floor and he starts calling for a timeout. And
Yes.
there's a guy that shouts two things, and I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God. Yes, dude.
You heard him too?
All I heard was him say, "There's no timeouts in wrestling, Johnny."
Yeah, that's the first thing that said, and I couldn't tell who the hell saying it because it wasn't Marty. Uh,
No, it was definitely a mark.
it wasn't okay. I didn't know if they had like some other announcer or something because his
No.
voice was so clear to me. I was like, yo, does
Yeah.
that guy have a mic? Like
It's probably near a crowd mic. I'm assuming.
okay, yeah, because I heard him say another thing later.
Uh-huh.
I had to pause it and I rewatched this part 3 times because like who's saying this? Because it looked like Marty was saying it. I was like, that's not his voice.
No, no. And I do like how Prince Puma, he's trying to protest the fall, but it's like ref's decision is final. He's not gonna call it back. Like
Well,
you may as well be arguing with an MLB umpire. You're not gonna win.
well, and here's the also thing is like this is why I also say it's a veteran pin by Mundo, not necessarily a heel move at this point because
Mm-hmm.
if Mundo can reach the ropes, Puma could have too.
Yes, exactly.
So he got pinned. I consider that a deserved pin
Mm-hmm.
from Mundo. Puma
Yeah,
he can complain, but like he's there by the ropes too. His arms were, if anything, closer to the bottom rope, and would have been
yeah,
seen by Marty. So it's
yeah. Because Marty was counting the shoulders. So yeah.
so. The Striker said something. I don't know if you heard him say it, but he said Prince Puma is a counter wrestler. Um,
Oh, by
and
the way, just for those of you who can't do simple math, Score is 1-1. It's tied.
1-1.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Sorry,
think?
go ahead.
What do you think? Matt Stryker said that Puma's a counter wrestler. Do you agree with that?
No, I actually don't. I always thought Puma was more of an offensive wrestler.
Yeah, Matt Stryker said he's a counter wrestler at this point, and I was kind of like, I don't know about that. I think it's something. I think it was one of those things that you just say if you're an announcer as the match goes on to just add color.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
because it didn't make much.
It's filler, you know.
Yeah, when he said it, I was like, you know what? I want to dispute that, but I'm not sure if I definitively know if that's false. But I really do think it is.
Yeah. Again, another Charlie Kelly type of thing. Like, doesn't sound right, but I don't know enough about stars to dispute it. That sort of thing.
It was exactly that. Yes.
Oh man. So at one point, Puma lands a schoolboy, only for 2 though. And I think this was Johnny that did this, but he had a backbreaker onto his knee into a Russian leg sweep.
And it was very crisp and nice looking too, though, because Russian leg sweeps can look like nothing, but he made it look like it hurt.
Yeah. And at one point, like, Puma is trying to create distance, and Johnny just won't let him. Johnny is following him literally everywhere. I thought it was beautiful.
Yep, they had a lot of psychology in this. This was a fight. It was a fight psychology match. It wasn't just story. It was ingrained into the moves and into the flow of the match and what happened. And are we at the point where they're outside the ring at this?
Yeah, actually, and I wanted to note, and this will come back later, but apparently, and this does answer my question, there are no countouts, and also there are no disqualifications in this match either.
Yeah, I was unaware of the no disqualifications part.
Until Stryker actually said something.
Until he actually said something, yes. Because
sorry if I can make a comparison as far as the no countout thing. That's the equivalent of, I live in a small part of Oklahoma, and these small schools, when they play basketball, they don't have a shot clock. So if someone wants to, they can hold the ball for an entire quarter. Like, that's the equivalent, this no countout thing, it's the equivalent of no shot clock in basketball. Ugh.
Yeah, I feel like you can have a countout in this type of match. You just don't count if they're both outside.
Yeah, I would agree.
But it doesn't take away from the match.
God. No, it doesn't. And Mundo, we notice this is a no DQ match. When Stryker notes it's no DQ, and he does this because Johnny Mundo starts pulling out plunder from under the ring. He pulls out a wood box for simple box jumps. He pulls out a chair to sit in, and he pulls out a crowbar in case he needs to kneecap someone.
One of these things is more important than the others, but the box does come into play pretty quickly.
It does, yeah. It does. God, what did they did something. They crushed the box is what they did, but I forgot how.
Prince Puma got him into a fireman carry.
Oh my God, yes, dude.
And then he did a driver, kind of like, like a Michinoku driver onto the box. And that box shattered so perfectly. It looked like it sucked.
My God. Johnny Mundo, and this is when Johnny starts to get the advantage. Johnny hits Prince Puma with a crowbar multiple times, including one time in the face. Johnny Mundo then rolls Prince Puma into the ring, and he gets the pinfall, and he takes the lead 2-1.
And this is where the heel turn starts.
Absolutely. And commentary in Vampiro, he's like, hey, there's not a rest period. Why don't you cover him again? Johnny's posturing. But then Johnny pulls up Prince Puma and nails Moonlight Drive. That's like the corkscrew neck breaker thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there we go. Nails Moonlight Drive. Now the score is 3-1. By God. And this last one, I actually forgot about this last one. But Prince Puma gets up. Johnny Mundo lands a disaster kick. And then he hits the end of the world. And Johnny Mundo, my God. He's up 4-1. I wrote down, we may have to call a run rule. Like, it's not good.
Yeah, it was he got a flurry of pins here. And
3 pins in like 2 minutes. It's wild.
And it was funny. Matt Stryker said, now you have to start worrying about concussions. And this is after the crowbar. And I wrote down my notes. We have to worry about them now, not right after the crowbar attack. Like now it's important to worry about. It's one of those things where it's just color. But if you try to analyze it, you will find problems. So don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's I think Bill DeMott was producing Matt Stryker when he said, well, now we need to worry about concussions.
Well, I mean, this is an important part of the match because this is where Puma starts fighting from underneath, and this is necessary for him to look strong if he is going to win. We won't say if he does, but as a face, this is how he should be having matches. Not all the time, but this will help cement him as a good baby face.
Exactly. What I was gonna say is after he gets that third fall to get up 4-1, Johnny kind of starts to posture. And then he asks for water, and he says, "I'm parched," and that popped me for some reason.
Dude, Johnny Mundo was great in this, and it showcases his character's evolution as a heel. He's not, a chicken shit heel. He believes he's the best. He's a heel that was turned because he believes he's the best, and he just couldn't seal the deal for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. So I think this was after a break, if I'm not mistaken. But Johnny Mundo, he's done with the water bottle, so he throws it at Prince Puma's head.
He does it. He throws the water bottle at Puma a few times, and each time it popped me. I thought it was great.
Yeah, well, it's great because like when they do that, they make sure to leave a little bit of water in there, so it always spills out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it just looks great. It's so disrespectful. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this, I believe, by my count, this is the third time we've heard this chant on the show. But Johnny Mundo earns himself a culero chant.
I wasn't keeping track, but I believe you.
Oh my God. Puma eventually wills himself back up. Johnny charges him, but Puma ducks. Eventually, Johnny Mundo hits a neck breaker between the ropes onto the apron.
Ugh. That was this. I wrote it down in my notes. I can't remember how he did it because I remember it was just so he planted him.
Yeah.
Nissan believes you deserve a car that thrills you. So we have to ask, does your car thrill you? When you hit the pedal, do you get something back? A chill in your spine, goosebumps on your goosebumps. When you take off, do your fingers tighten around the steering wheel? Does your heart beat in your stomach and your breath catch in your chest? Does driving make you feel alive? Because it should. And if your car doesn't thrill you, ours will. This is the new Nissan.
Your business may be small, but you've got big goals. Brother Laser Printers can help you succeed, no matter the space, task, or budget. From crisp black and white to vivid full color, our printers offer affordable quality you can trust. Plus, fast printing and high page yields make them ideal for home offices and shared workspaces. It's no wonder Brother is the #1 retail brand in laser printer unit sales in the U.S. With Brother at your side, go from small to do it all. Shop now at brother-usa.com/laser.
Well, that's the thing. If you go back in time, look at NXT, look at a little bit of Raw, look at pretty much anything. 2015 was the year of apron bumps. Whether it's Lucha Underground or WWE or Impact, it didn't matter. There were apron bumps everywhere, and they're always stupid.
Yeah, they were required for some reason. This was a cool bump though because it looked.
But I mean,
they're stupid.
And look, okay, I know it's wrestling and it's inherently dangerous, but this is just a little bit more dangerous,
Yeah, because it's diminishing returns. Like, how many fans can really appreciate how dangerous it is? Mm-hmm. And do they sell it as it's as dangerous as it is, kind of thing? Yeah. Like, I'm sure the first few times we saw an apron spot, they sold it like death, and maybe they didn't kick out.
The first one I can think of, and they even had the guy do a stretcher job. It was after Sami Zayn won the NXT title, and Kevin Owens did the pop-up powerbomb to him on the apron.
Yeah, you don't
like they sold that like death,
as it should. But after a while, it just became a spot.
Yeah, exactly. Johnny Mundo eventually pulls out a rusty ladder. Mundo also pulls out a couple of tables, and Puma is pulled onto those tables into the alley. By the way, for what it's worth, this is right under the bandstand where Mexican Dubweiser was playing earlier. Love that name, by the way, Mexican Dubweiser.
It's a great name.
Of beer, and I'm sure that's intentional. Let's see here.
There's a part here where
by the way, there was an opening. There was an opening in that alley. It's like gives you access to the bowels of the temple.
maybe it leads to the prison.
Yes, maybe it leads to the prison next to Matanza.
There's a point here where, and this is one of those things where Vampiro's past, his other things he says kind of negates the good thing he's trying to do, where he's trying to put over the violence of this match. He's saying, you know, Johnny's going too far, he's getting too violent. But it's also the same guy that's always talking about he laughs when who's the short person that gets kicked all the time, Masquerita Sagrada. He laughs
Yes,
and
sir.
he loves it when he gets beat up. He's always talking about darkness and evil and vampire cults, but he thinks a ladder and tables is too far. It's one of those things where it's like he's doing his best to sell the match and get you involved and think it's more violent than it is. But unfortunately, his past comments kind of make it kind of hard to absorb the way it's intended.
Yeah, exactly.
But we also get the other guy, the guy we talked about earlier. He shouts another thing. He says, "Damn it, Johnny, that's a person."
I didn't hear that.
I don't know who it is, but he says, I remember that. He said, "Damn it, Johnny, that's a person." And I was like,
That's
all right.
great. That's great, dude. I love it. For all we know, that was DJ sitting with the marks, adding some color.
Maybe.
Oh my God. Let's see here. Mundo climbs the tetanus railing, but Puma wakes up and they fight into the crowd. Puma eventually goes under the ring and sets a third table on top of one of the other two, and then a fourth table on top of the other. So we got 4 tables.
Yeah, this brawl into the crowd was important because it showed just how much animosity they had. They both have wrestled each other multiple times, so it's just turned into a hockey fight at this point because they're both frustrated. You know, there's a lot of ego involved. They're both trying to prove they're the best, and it's just going off the rails. And they're in the audience at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Puma tries to go back up, but Johnny Mundo hits him with the thrust kick that sends him off the balcony onto the floor near the tables, but not through them. Mundo grabs a mic. He's at the bandstand, grabs a microphone, and he demands that Mexican Dubweiser play him a song. As
that
they're
was
playing
great.
It was great. It was a great break for sure. Prince Puma climbs the ladder. Mundo throws a water bottle at him, but Prince Puma hits Johnny Mundo with a 2x4, and he gets to the bandstand. Puma then does his best Double J impersonation with a guitar over I believe it was over the head.
Yes, and it was great. I love guitar shots.
Yes, they're good. That's why you're such Jeff Jarrett, Mark.
That's the one thing I like about Jeff Jarrett.
Puma, and this was freaking hardcore. Prince Puma then, I won't even say it was a spear, because this was more like a football tackle.
It was just like a tackle push.
He tackles Johnny Mundo off of the bandstand through those 4 tables that we saw earlier. Ugh. And I wrote this down, and they show it on the replay because you hear a loud scream, a very loud womanly scream. It's almost like they added a Wilhelm scream.
Oh, it wasn't from a person? Like actually there?
I think it was. I was just making a joke. But
there was one part before when remember when Johnny Mundo did the Yakuza kick and knocked Puma off the railing?
Yes, yeah.
He also spit a huge loogie at him too afterwards, just gross. For additional disrespect. Dude, the disrespect Johnny Mundo was doing was great heel work. But it's also like if you're just frustrated, you want this guy to stay down. He's spitting on him, he's throwing water bottles at him, like very disrespectfully, like just at his face, not to hurt him, but just to be like, F you, like stay down.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so, the singer of Dubweiser, you know what Matt Stryker called him?
What did he call him?
M. Bison. His name is M. Bison. I wrote that down.
Oh my God, that's great. That's great, dude.
It was some great heat he was getting though when he was up there and he was yelling at the band to play song and drink. He was wetting his hair with water, just taking a few casual sips of water, just kind of like the heel stuff where they're chewing bubble gum and wearing sunglasses, just
God.
absorbing all the heat like he's the sun in the center of the universe. It was great. It was great stuff.
Exactly. But after that spear, that mega spear that we got, Prince Puma, and he does this in multiple attempts because Johnny's kind of like dead weight, but he's kind of trying to drag Johnny to the ring so he can pin him. And he eventually, sorry, go ahead.
Nope, I was just going to add to it. You're good. Keep going.
He eventually gets Johnny in the ring, and he does pin him. So now the deficit has gone from 4-1 to 4-2. So it's somewhat more manageable for Prince Puma.
And even though there weren't any moves being done, that whole sequence where he's carrying him to the ring, they fall down. They're both beat up. They're both have gotten hit by ladders, crowbars. Like that's the thing is Puma's been hit by a crowbar, so it's not so easy for him to carry Mundo down. And Mundo doesn't want to be in the ring. He doesn't want to get pinned, so he's not cooperating. He doesn't have to. He can lay there like a sack of bricks. He doesn't have to do it. So it was a fight and a struggle for Puma to get him in there. So it was an earned pin, even though it might not sound like it. He earned that just from all the work.
No, it was definitely earned because like you said, he's been through. He smells like smoke because he's been through fire.
Mm-hmm.
So after that second pinfall from Prince Puma, Johnny is bleeding. We're seeing a lot of back and forth striking. And it's really hard to say who has more power at this juncture because, again, they've both just been through hell. Prince Puma a little more so than Johnny, but Johnny's taking his bumps for sure. Prince Puma lands what I call – it looked like what Dakota Kai does now, the go-to kick, where he has them in go-to-sleep position and then kicks them.
Yeah, and he tried it earlier in the match, and earlier in the match he did it, and it didn't. It looked stupid. But once I saw this, I realized they were both going for finishers early in the match. So,
yes,
it's exactly what you just said. It is. It's like a go to sleep, but you kick at when they've come down. I think what's his name, Chuck Taylor in AEW, he does it too. It's not one of my favorite moves because it's fine, but it's a lot of work for something that's just really a kick to the face. Yeah.
And now Prince Puma then lands a driver of sorts. I can't remember what kind of driver it was. Was it a Michinoku driver?
I think so because I think a Michinoku driver starts with a scoop slam.
Yes, there we go. Yes, boys.
It was. I said a scoop slam driver, but you're right. It's a Michinoku driver.
Either way, he hits that Michinoku driver and he gets the pin. And Prince Puma is now only down 4-3, so he's closed the gap a little bit more, but he is still trailing.
Mm-hmm. This is where Johnny starts doing the smart thing.
Oh my God, I love this stretch. I really did. I love the rest of this match. Okay, look, I love this entire match, but I especially love everything from this point on.
It's great because it's smart. And it goes. I remember we called the fans in the audience smart marks, or no, we called them marks because they're just.
You called
marks.
Them stupid last year or 2 weeks ago is what you called them.
Well, they start booing this because they're booing things that are actually smart. Like Mundo starts running away, using parkour to jump out of the ring, jump on the barricade, jump to the other side of the ring.
They're playing cat and mouse because Johnny Mundo has realized, like, oh shit, I don't have momentum anymore, and Prince Puma is a lot tougher than I remember. So yeah, let's use my parkour to get out of this.
He doesn't have to pin Puma to win the match at this point. He just needs to continue.
He's just got to keep his lead.
He's just eating the clock like a football team does. Like when
he's a football team that, like, okay, well, we can gain 3 to 4 yards on a run, keep it between the tackles, run the clock out, and get out of here with a dub. That was the game plan.
And it's probably if like, let's say like Cody Rhodes has Arn Anderson as a coach, it's probably what the coach is going to make you do.
Yeah, exactly. And now, okay, like I do love this because Vampiro is like, man, I'm all for new attitude, Johnny, but like, I'm not for this guy being a coward. He's lost my respect here.
Yeah, and it's like it's for heat, and he's calling him a coward. But come on, like. Vampiro is also one of those wrestlers like a Mick Foley or Terry Funk, but they're not necessarily smart.
But they're tough.
They're tough, and they just want to fight and brawl, and they're not really out for the W.
And so running away is more of a foreign concept to them.
Yeah, he's not getting it.
And dude, Johnny Mundo at one point, like he's running away, he's parkouring into over the railing, into the crowd, out of the crowd, into the ring, out of the ring. He even hides behind commentary at one point in time.
And they were like, get away from here. Don't hide behind us. It was great.
Exactly. And at one point, they're in the ring, and Prince Puma lands a kick, and he goes for the 630, but Mundo moves out of the ring before Puma can land the 630.
It's heat, all for the heat, and it's great.
Yeah. And at this point, it's become a little bit hopeless for for Prince Puma, because he can't close the distance here. He's too banged up. And while Prince Puma is an athlete and arguably more athletic than Johnny, he's just so banged up. He can't keep pace right now.
Because they're kind of the same speed, but he needs to be faster than Johnny to be able to cut him off, and he can't cut him off because Johnny Mundo has this whole arena to run around, and he's a parkour dude. So it's like, how do you do that?
Yeah, exactly. And I remember there was one point where Mundo's in the crowd over the tetanus railing. Puma's on the outside, to the floor. Puma hops over the railing into the crowd, and as Puma is doing that, Mundo hops over the railing onto the floor.
Yeah, he's just doing the smart thing. He's one step ahead of Puma, and Puma can't get the 2 additional steps to catch up, or even the 3 to get ahead.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And at this point, after Puma nearly lands at 630, Mundo realizes, I got to get away as far as possible. So Mundo is content to he goes up the stairs. He's ready to just stay as far away from Prince Puma for as long as possible.
And before you continue, I'm going to say, this point, it's kind of like you're playing chess, but you both only have a few pawns.
Yep.
But the other guy can just win just by eating out the time. But I'll let you continue.
Yeah. So it was at this point, all hope is lost for Prince Puma. Johnny Mundo, atop the steps. He's not going to close the distance. Mundo is going to become Lucha Underground champion, and nobody can stop him. Nobody, except for a pissed off Alberto El Patron, who makes his return to the temple to the cheers and applause of the Lucha Underground faithful.
Dude, he runs up and he hits the
shit out of him, bro.
Do you think there was heat between them, or is Alberto always kind of stiff with people?
I don't think. I think either A, Alberto's kind of stiff, or B, Alberto was just a little bit overzealous,
Okay, because it looked like he just really ran up and just fucking destroyed him. It really did.
It looked good, and oh my god, this was when Stryker gets really good, and Vampiro is pretty good throughout the rest of this match as well. But Stryker gets really good because his call, he's like, "Oh, pissed off! El Patron has returned to the temple."
Very pissed off.
Mm-hmm. So Patron beats Mundo down the steps. He ends up in there. I think, does Patron throw him in the ring?
He throws him into the side of Dario's office really hard, and then he throws him into the ring.
Yep, tit for tat. Puma then lands a springboard shooting star press, and all of a sudden, oh my god, we've only got minutes left, but Prince Puma has closed the gap. It was 4-1 earlier. It's 4-4 now.
It's neck and neck. It's the next person to get the pin wins.
Absolutely. And before the match can start back up, it's still going, but the action's kind of Alberto El Patron grabs the mic. He says, this match may be even, Johnny, but we're far from it. That was a good line, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, if you win and you take if you win the Lucha Underground Championship, I'll kick your ass and I'll take it from you. And Puma, if you win, be ready. I'm coming for you and the title. But you already knew that. Wink.
Yep.
Damn good promo work there. I'm not going to lie. I really enjoyed that, man.
He's very good, and he makes it very clear. I like it because it makes it known that it's not just about good guy versus bad guy, but it's a competition. And he's like, I hate you, Johnny Mundo, but if you lose, I'm just going after that. We might not be done yet, but I want that title. So Puma, I'm not your friend. I will come for that belt eventually. So it's kind of like it's almost like a face move. It's like, look, I'm telling you my intentions.
Is the enemy of my enemy my friend or my enemy.
Yeah, good point.
I'm assuming you got to that part in ZS jail.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I feel like that was in there.
No.
You know what? I'm conflating the two because I saw Justice League like days before I saw Blade 2.
Oh yeah,
that was a Blade 2 line. Pardon me.
I was gonna say I don't remember that.
Sorry. Oh my god. So we got about 3 minutes left, a little over 3 minutes. Lots of pin attempts, roll-ups that are being countered. There's a big sense of urgency.
It's and the best part about this part of the match is that they've both been hit with like crowbars. They've been hit by Alberto El Patron. They've fallen through tables. They've been kicked off of the tetanus railing.
Mm-hmm.
They've gotten hit with each other's finishers.
Mm-hmm.
Not
the big one. Puma hasn't hit the big one.
Not the big one, but they've already been pinned. They've already been hit with enough to pin each other. So it's
4 times each.
Yeah, and as a match goes on, the ability to be pinned by smaller and smaller moves increases. Like you don't have to like destroy someone; they're just so worn down. So not only are all these high spots and pin attempts close by default, but they're really close just because these guys are dead.
Yeah, exactly. And Johnny lands a big, and this was Johnny's one of his last shots here. Johnny hits the Spanish fly, but he only gets 2. At this point, we've got less than 2 minutes left. And Mundo is doing the 10 punches in the corner. And he looks like he was going to go for like the end of the world, but like, was he going to hit it on Puma's face or something?
Yeah, it was kind of maybe he might have. But Mundo's brawling is really good. Like he's going for body shots. Like he's just beating the shit out of Puma. Like I'd give him the advantage in brawling.
Yeah, exactly. I would give Mundo the advantage on points for sure. It's a little JR joke. Let's see here. So anyway, Puma ducks out of that, what I guess would have been an attempt for fin de Mundo, but whatever. Puma creates the distance. Puma, oh my God. Puma lands a drop kick on the corner, and Matt Striker is just going all out on commentary right now. He's going full like Jeff Hardy in that ladder match with Taker. Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself famous. Like that's the kind of passion that I'm hearing from Matt Striker here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So vicious drop kick in the corner. Puma then goes up top. He lands the 630 for the first time in the match with less than 15 seconds left. But by God, if ever there was a time to land it, it's right then and there because Prince Puma, with like less than 10 seconds, like maybe 8, he gets the pinfall. He's up 5-4. The time runs out. Prince Puma is still Lucha Underground champion.
And I know we've been, and I said earlier about certain things in this match happened that normally would be critical of Puma, and I would say that make him look weak. The Alberto interference doesn't make him look weak because he had already taken a crowbar to the head.
Exactly, yeah.
It's tit for tat. It evens out, and frankly, it was to throw Mundo. Alberto beat the crap out of him, but he didn't hit him with a finisher. He didn't hit him with an object. He basically just put him back into the ring.
He just, didn't allow Johnny Mundo to run the clock out. That's all.
Like, he wouldn't probably get pinned from the offense that Alberto... Yeah. It was rough, though. Like, he beat the crap out of him, but it wasn't something that would have... it probably doesn't...
It's not like Berto broke his arm or something.
It's not like he broke his arm. It's not like he hit him with a crowbar or a chair or threw sand in his eyes. He just... killed him with a clothesline and a punches and kicked him downstairs and then threw him into a barricade. Yeah.
And again, commentary was on fire for that last stretch of the match there. And I'm going to say it. I know we're about to get out of here. Today, Prince Puma earned the right to be called champion.
Yes, this is his first definitive strong match.
This was a tentpole victory for Prince Puma.
It was, and you can make the argument that all his weaker wins kind of fueled the tension in this match.
Yeah.
You could even come to me and say, well, they planned for that. That's why they did all those weak kind of wins for him. And you could, I don't think so, but you could make that.
I don't think so either.
You could say, like, if you could say if some mastermind was planning it, yeah, sure. but this is a definitive win for Puma. I'm going to give this an A+.
Yes, I would agree. I would actually, you know what?
You going to give it an S?
I'm going to give it an S. This may be controversial, but it gets an S, man.
I'm okay with that. I'm only not going to give it an S because of future matches that are going to come up that I think are technically better. But I wouldn't argue with someone that gave it an S.
That's fair.
This is a definitive match for Lucha Underground. This is the heart of Lucha Underground right here, this feud. And they put on, I mean, I can't praise them enough. Mundo, this is some of his best work. Puma, Ricochet, he's always crisp. He's always like Neo in the Matrix. Like, he's amazing. His facial expressions when Mundo is at the top of the stairs and he's taunting and he thinks all is lost. The look of dread on his face and despair is just, and this is wearing a mask. It's great. He might not be great on the mic, but his facials, he doesn't need to talk. I'll say that.
Exactly. I would agree. Man, I am so... And by the way, next week, folks, we have got a main event, a solid main event. We're going to determine the challenger for Prince Puma now at Ultima Lucha when Drago faces Mil Muertes. And I look forward to that.
Do you know if there's any stipulation to that match?
I don't believe so. I think it's just... I mean, it may be an ODQ thing, maybe, but I think beyond that, straight up.
I'm thinking more like Drago doesn't have to unmask or leave the temple.
No, Drago's good. Drago, like, his only unmasking stip was going to be last week, when he won the 4-way.
Okay. Well, that's fine. Yeah, I didn't know about the main event, but that's going to be good. That's a great match right there. I already know who. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I know who will win that match. But either way,
what, next week?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know who wins.
Oh yes, I'm aware.
Yeah,
I know pretty much every major story beat on Lucha Underground, but I try not to spoil anything.
Yeah, I remember the major ones, just not all of the other ones.
That's fair. So, folks, we are going to get out of here. But before we do, there are other great shows on this network. Not as great as us, of course, but they're great shows. Don't get me wrong. We've got 8-Bit Suplex with heel Josh number 2, Josh McLaughlin, and Sandy Gaviria. That is video game and Impact Wrestling based. You should check that out for sure if you like either Impact or video games, or both. If you like AEW, you should check out All Things Elite with my boy Floyd Johnson Jr. and Austin Summerwitz. Of course, check us out every Thursday morning, 6:30 a.m. Great Match Generator with DJ Cooks. Check that out. The name kind of is self-explanatory. They generate these matches, these great matches, and they talk about and discuss and critique them, if I'm not mistaken. If you like independent wrestling, make sure you check out Grown Men Watch This Shit with Chris Thangs and James Vanderbeek. Not the Dawson's Creek guy, of course. He's the guy on Twitter who does the awesome Photoshops, but for what it's worth. If you like New Japan Pro Wrestling, you should check out Keeping It Strong Style. That is with Jeremy Donovan, the boss, and the young boy, Josh Smith, heel Josh number 1. If you like WWE and discussion outside of the realm of wrestling, be it politics, basketball, pop culture, whatever the case may be, check out One Nation Radio with Rich Latta and James Boyd. And last but definitely not least, check out Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show. That is with my 2 best friends from Scotland, Ricky and Clive. That's, WWE based. They'll talk NXT UK, that sort of thing. They go all around the world for sure. They're a great couple of guys. And they're Scottish. So that's awesome. That's awesome for sure. You can get all of these shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Greg, by my list here on the Red Circle website, I got everything. Do you have anything you want to say to the people?
No, I think we had a good show, and I think if you're still on the fence about Lucha Underground, this is a good match to start out with. You might lose some of the context, but I think even in a vacuum, this match is a 5-star match.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree for sure.
I'm sure you can find some criticisms here and there, but I think a lot of it would be nitpicking. Like some of the criticisms we had are surface level.
Exactly. So, folks, with that, we are going to let you go. And just remember, sometimes if you throw a guy's head through an office window and bust him open and send him to the hospital, you may have to suffer grave consequences.
Epicor is the essential partner to the world's most essential businesses, offering ERP solutions built for growth and operational success. Explore the industry productivity solutions we curate for the automotive, building supply, distribution, manufacturing, and retail industries by visiting epicor.com/essential. That's EPICOR.com/essential.